Hi, this is Sue for My Journey with Parkinson's, and today I just thought I'd have a bit of a chat about how people do things differently as a couple and what works for us. So, anyway, some background on my husband and I. We have been together now for 24 years. That's a long time, 24 years. So, we've been married for 16 years this year. So, that's a pretty good innings. A little bit of background on us. My husband is English. We met online. I often say that he was the best internet shopping bargain that I've ever had, and that still holds true for today. So anyway, we met online when he was still in England and I was in New Zealand, and we corresponded and we talked on the phone and we got to know each other at distance, and then he moved over here to New Zealand and we got together properly, and I'm happy to say that we're still happily together now. So yes, he was English. He had lived the single life. He'd never actually been married or lived with anybody. So it was an adjustment for him when the time finally came for us to live together. It was an adjustment for him to learn to live with somebody else. And we had a talk about the fact that he had been so used to living on his own, doing his own thing when it suited him, if it suited him, and he didn't really have to consider anybody else on a day-to-day basis. So he was very protective of having his own space, following his own interests, and having a balance so that he could do what he wanted to do and we could do what we wanted as a couple. So, it takes a while for these things to bed in, but I think we're doing it pretty good so far. 20 odd years says so, I guess. And so, he and I had a bit of a talk about what would work for him and what would work for me. Now, unlike my husband, I had been married before. In fact, I'd been married twice before. The first one produced my 3 beautiful children. The second one, thank goodness, did not produce any children. The second one was a very controlling, unhealthy kind of a relationship, so far away from where I am with my husband at the moment, and have always been in a safe space with my husband. So I had lived with a guy who was psychologically abusive. On occasion there was a physicality to it, but mostly psychological, and living in fear and living on the edge, not knowing what would set him off from one minute to the next. He also would control my movements. He wanted to know where I was every minute of the day, who I was with, how long I was going to take, and would pick up on me to see where I was at constantly. So I had a very controlled life. I had a life that was not my own choosing. While I chose to marry him and chose to live with him in that way, I did not choose to be abused. And that's very important. Nobody chooses to be abused. But when you have 3 children and you need to provide them with a safe home, then it does take a lot of courage to move out with them and put them through yet another move, yet another divorce. So anyway, we did ultimately divorce, and I came down to Christchurch and I met my husband, who's my 3rd husband now, and will be, of course, very much my last husband, because he is a keeper. He is such a good guy, and we do very well together. So what I wanted to say was about, like the title said, we're a little bit different, but it works. So because my husband had lived on his own for so long, he was so protective of his own space and needed his own space. So we had to have that understanding right from the get-go. And as I said to him when he was telling me what he needed out of the relationship, I said, look, I was controlled by a very controlling husband who needed to know where I was every minute, didn't listen to me, would fly off the handle all the time, and I was constantly monitored, how I looked, how I dressed, who I saw, how long I went out. In almost every aspect of our lives, I was controlled and had to be answerable for every little minute of my time. So when he said to me, my husband, when he said to me, that's my husband that I have now, my past, present and future husband, when he said to me that he needed space, I said to him, look, I have been under so much control. I have not had the free will to even have friends if they weren't sanctioned by him. I said, I need my space, and I understand that you need yours, and we will make it work. And we have. So in the house that we share together, when we bought the house, we wanted to have a room each that we could have as a study, that we could go into and do our own thing and enjoy that space and time doing what we wanted to do as individuals. And so he has his cave, we call it his man cave, and I have my cave. And we can be in the same house for 3 hours and not talk. And that may sound a little bit strange, but it works for us because he's doing his thing, he's immersed in what he's doing, I'm immersed in what I'm doing. And, every now and again he'll come and tap on my door, or I'll tap on his, because he might be recording, I might be doing a podcast. We check in with each other before actually launching into a room. So although we're doing separate things, we will probably have a coffee together or lunch together or go out for a coffee later in town. And, we will usually at breakfast check in with each other. What are your plans today? What do you need to get done? What do you want to get done? What do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to do things together, or is this a day when you need to do something for yourself? So we very much check in with each other, and we're very much a cooperative team. And that's important for us because neither of us want to control the other, and that's a healthy way of looking at a relationship in my books. So since we moved to our house that we've been in now for nearly 5 years, since we moved in there and since we moved to the little town that we live in, I have started going to a games morning every Monday. I've been doing that for a few years now. I go swimming 3 mornings a week, and I play bowls when it's the bowling season, and recently winter bowls on an artificial green, which my club doesn't have. So I have my activities, and my husband plays his guitar and goes for long walks and does things in his cave. And so we very much have the opportunity to do our own thing to the extent that we need. And I think it's really important to have that because, especially as my Parkinson's becomes more and more obvious and I don't have the ability to do as much as I would like to do, he will need his outlets even more than he does now. And it's important to recognise that. So we're actually in Kaikoura at the moment, which is our favourite place. Come away for a few days as a couple to enjoy each other's company, to enjoy this beautiful region, and then we will go home refreshed and we will have had a beautiful few days. But the thing that's different about us, most people that go away for a couple's weekend only do things together, and that's fine if that works for them. But for us, it's important that we each do something that we enjoy and one isn't holding back the other. So my husband has done huge walks over time. He's been a real hiker, more than I've ever been. And I used to manage all right, but having had a back operation and a knee operation, I'm really not anywhere near as fit as I should be to go and join him on these walks. So we have come to an understanding. When we come to Kaikoura, today is the day where we both do things just for ourselves. And so he has gone off for a nice long walk along the peninsula, and he can meander and take his time. Or he could move more quickly if he needs to, because he doesn't have me dragging behind and have the worry of whether I will make it there, let alone make it back. So he's off happily doing that. So because I've been playing bowls in Christchurch, the last visit that we had to Kaikoura, I bought my bowls and I had contacted one of the bowling clubs. So they were very welcoming and said, yes, bowl on up, we'll give you a bit of a roll up. So that's what I did, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm doing the same today. He's just not long gone off for his walk on the peninsula, and he's taken his camera and his lunch, and he will have a really nice outing. And I will just meet him here at the end of the day, and we go out for dinner tonight, which is nice. And so, I'm going off to bowls, and I'm going to go and have a nice time playing bowls, which I really enjoy. I'll be enjoying doing my thing. My husband will be enjoying doing his thing. And, at the end of the day, both of us will hopefully be happy that we've had a nice day out. We've been able to do our own thing. Neither of us has held the other back, and we'll have something to talk about at dinner, which is great. Because I think, if you spend all your time together, what do you talk about? You've both experienced the same things. So we like getting together and talking about how our day's been and having a nice chat over dinner. So I'm looking forward to that. So, yeah, we're a bit different from some couples, I guess, in that we don't feel the need to be constantly in each other's presence. My husband actively encourages me with my swimming, with my playing games, with my bowling, and anything else that I find. And I'm making good friends, and they're not picked by my husband. Don't have to be vetted by my husband like the second one would have. So I think we have a really good balance, and I think that's going to be important in the future, that I can continue to do some of these things that I'm doing now. Some I may need to let go, but at least I have met some friends who will look out for me, be present for me, and who are going to be invaluable when my husband needs to take those long walks of his, that he will know that he can do that, and with my blessing, not that he needs it, but that he can do that and that I can have company so that both of us are happy with whatever arrangement is made. So yeah, I'd encourage you to think about whether you are only doing things together as a couple, and if that works for you, then that's absolutely great. But just consider at some stage with Parkinson's, if you have an active lifestyle, like if you play golf together all the time and that's how you are together, or any other sport or any other activity that over time might be difficult, perhaps thinking of a way that the person with Parkinson's, like myself, can maybe modify what they do, can still have their separate independent activity, and much more, and more than that, that the carer, as our husbands and wives can end up being, you may need to consider how you will get the time to do the things that you need to do to keep yourself healthy and happy. And I know that my husband, if he didn't have his long walks, he wouldn't have his safety valve, and life would be very difficult for him. So think about that. Even if you're used to doing everything together, how would you manage if you couldn't? A good question to ask. So this has been Sue for Parkies and Me, my journey with Parkinson's. Kia kaha, be brave, be strong, be you.